Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. This is Luda Kopkina with GAI Insights, where we rate daily AI news essential, important, and optional, saving you time in your busy day and weekend. So today I have John, Paul, Adam, Ankash, and a special guest, Ram Katamaraja, who is a wonderful entrepreneur who has started one of his companies to actually help veterans to transition into the world from the military service, and he has been serving the AI community with data insights and AI news, and he's now at the conference someplace introducing a new AI engine. So welcome, Ram.
Thank you, Luda. Good morning, everyone.
All right, let's start with the first article, Ankash.
So thanks, Luda. So the first one that we have for today comes from Cohere. Cohere has launched North, which is a secure AI workspace.
Right. This is to rival Microsoft and Google platforms. Sounds very cohesive and comprehensive. Adam, what did you think about this one?
I was giving this either an optional, but more leaning towards important news. It's good to see Cohere keep up with some of the other competitors. Ankash, if you'll scroll down, there's a graphic near the bottom that shows the three components of the Cohere stack and how they've stitched them together to make North. And you could see this was coming, and it's good that it's here. Yeah, there you go. Because they've had Command R and then embed and re-rank. And so when you see some of the charts on here about their performance against Copilot Studio and Vertex AI, which are basically like foundries or toolkits where you can build agents, right? So Copilot Studio, or as you can do here with North, it's really to automate tasks for workers. And that's the big deal with agents that's coming this year. And this makes it clear that Cohere is going to be a solid competitor in that space, and they're keeping up. So that's basically it. So because they're using the embed and the re-rank, of course they're getting better results than the native Copilot or Vertex AI. But in both of those, you can use similar techniques to this with other tools. So it's not that they're really so far ahead as they're portraying. Overall, though, I'd probably say it is important that people are aware that Cohere is keeping up and there is this alternative.
Great. So important, right? Rating. Okay. What did you think about this, Paul?
Yeah, we just did our webinar yesterday on secure employee chatbots. I mean, I actually had it as optional simply because it's not available. It's an early access. You sign up to the wait list, so there's not that much for the AI lead.
I did apply on behalf of GAI Insights, Paul.
You did great.
I gave them our use cases, and I said we want to try it.
So I had as optional. I do want to, as a footnote, we had a briefing yesterday with Amazon's Q offering, and it's interesting that we're really starting to see a bifurcation of three different approaches for employee stuff. You can have kind of standalone chatbots. You can have chatbots that are embedded in an application like Word or Excel, or you can have things like this that are really optimized for access to information and pulling it from company information here. So I think this is a really important area, but I had it as optional just simply because it's not available yet.
Okay. Ram, what did you think?
I have to side with Adam on this. So as enterprise leaders, they need options to evaluate across like multiple platforms, especially for enterprise adoption. And Cohere is positioning themselves as this enterprise tool with all like various tools like coming together and able to compete with Google's and Microsoft's of the world. So it's definitely the more the options you have as a leader for enterprise adoption, the better it is. This is again, like these people are at this point of time not fully accessible. Like it's a early access program, so in a way, it's a product promotion, and they're looking for people like to sign up. So from that standpoint, it could be optional, but from the leader standpoint, they need options. So so I would rank it more towards important so that they have it as part of their toolkit.
Yeah, I was also going important because they integrated these tools. These tools exist, but when they are nicely integrated into a platform and it's easier to use, I think that's important as well. John, important, okay?
I'm in Chicago, and my vote is up for sale. I could go either way. I could go important or I could go optional. It goes the highest.
Okay, important it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
Okay, the next one that we have.
I just want to highlight, after 200 shows, I think that was the first offer to sell a vote. So I think we're entering new territory here.
At least publicly.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's proceed to the next one, Ankash, please.
Yes, so this one is a use case where it explains how Nerver is using AI and data to enhance post-purchase customer experiences.
Yes, they have tons of data. Ram you into a data machine here. What did you think about this article?
Yeah, so first of all, this is not a GenAI use case, something to kind of remember. This is like a typical AI use case. So from that standpoint, it's and also the really interesting thing about it is this is part of a back-end fulfillment, like post sale operations efficiency creation within the retail industry. So a lot of times this part is overlooked, and probably like gets least attention from the entire C-suite, or maybe like from the companies. However, this is like a very, very interesting use case. How these ignored are like less attention paid operations where AI can be applied and efficiency can be improved significantly. And this could be, and this happens in a lot of industries. Like for example, if you take utilities industries and others, the asset management, it's nobody cares, right? They just throw the money and they think that this inventory would live forever, right? But they fail and could cost millions of dollars, right? So similarly, there are lots of industries where the operations could be ignored, and this is like a classic from my perspective. There's a very interesting use case to pay attention to and see how they can apply AI to these operations, which may not be attracting too much funding and attention, but apply AI to increase the efficiency and increase the bottom line. So from that standpoint, I would put it more towards important, not optional.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What did you think about this, John?
Yeah, I originally thought optional. That again, it's not a GenAI use case. However, there is a piece in there, and I think what they're doing. They talk about using transformers. I think what they're doing is they're using transformers to predict a customer's next move, and I thought that was really interesting because obviously there's a ton of statistical models, about what the customer's next choice is going to be. And the CEO said, a customer's process is just like a language, right? You can kind of predict the next thing, which I thought was a very powerful idea, and hadn't thought of it, in terms of there are so many places in the especially the e-commerce economy, where you want to be predicting a customer's next move, and if you can do that well with a transformer, that can be very, very powerful. So I don't know. I was on the fence between optional and important because of that.
Okay, let's see what Adam thought.
I was leaning towards optional. I think Ram and I are on the same page today, and for a few reasons. But the point is, it isn't generative AI.
I see,
and so it's a bit out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's put it. Paul, okay with optional? Yeah. Okay. Let's go optional on this one. Trend is important, though. It is true that these processes in the back end can be overlooked, but you can squeeze a lot of efficiency and good performance and engagement of customers from those. So they shouldn't be ignored. All right, but optional. Okay, let's proceed to the next one, Ankash, please.
Okay, the next one comes from stability.ai, and they are introducing stable point aware 3D, which can be used for real-time editing and completing object structure generation.
Yeah, this is a cool one. If you can show us the picture, that would be good. Paul, would you like to introduce it, or do you want me to?
Paul, you're on mute.
Paul, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ludo. I'm processing for our company meeting in 20 minutes.
Okay. All right. So this is essentially a product announcement, but behind it is a full research paper that explains, or you can actually scroll down in this one as well, that explains how they took the current methods that were not doing as well in the 3D imaging and presenting the 3D images, and they combine them together to make sure that the image has all the the reality and all real, right? So it's good and as generation. So as a result, they combine prevailing methods and got a quite good performance in terms of accuracy of the image and the performance of the app. So I rated optional, however, because I don't know whether this is such an important area for our general audience, but the research is impressive and it's pushing the boundary of a particular space forward dramatically. What did you think about this? So optional for me. What did you think about this, Adam?
I agree it's optional. And just to be clear, when we say product announcement, this is effectively a free product, right? All of what Stability offers, I think it's like as soon as you get your company over $1 million in recurring revenue, then they want you to talk to them. I mean, this is very permissive, open weight, also available through an API. It's pretty extraordinary. And it's, what is it, less than a minute? You can go from a single image to a fully relit 3D mesh where they generate a point cloud, generate the mesh. It's incredible technology. The holodeck is coming, right? The metaverse is upon us, but optional for our AI leader at this point.
Okay, Ram, agree with optional?
I don't know. When I saw this, I immediately shared with the CEO friend of mine who runs a large shoe company. So, and for them, the design process is tedious. Like every design that they do, they have to put like cameras around it and like take pictures and like run AI algorithms, and so that they can ship it to and then like generate bill of materials. The whole thing, they have to develop the whole operating system for taking an image and converting into bill of materials for production, right? So, and when I shared with him, he just jumped out of the chair. He's like, wow, this is like unbelievable, right? It's the amount of efficiency that it could create, right? If you are like, and this type of design work, or in general imagery, use of imagery for global collaborations is done, I'm assuming, like in many industries, wherever there is like a like hardcore, like basically physical product is involved. So from that standpoint, it's a very interesting library and product for definitely the R&D teams that are there. For a Gen AI leader, could be optional, but it's a very important for the developers and R&D teams who work with this type of design, product designs.
Ram, you actually convinced me. I was investing in 3D printing startups for a while in my career. So this is a critical breaking point, I think, across the industry. So I'm changing my my vote for important.
And Luda, I'll actually add just a little more weight to that, because once it's generated the point cloud, there's actually a pause in the pipeline where a user can come in and modify it further. So Ram, at that point, this design firm could say, okay, let's take the shoe and let's try this and this and this and this, and then render them all out from there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
I have seen I seen my friend, like I went in his shop and saw him developing, like super impressed. There are so many cameras, like taking pictures, and like there's a rotating thing, and he's like, I'm like, wow, all that is like just boom, gone.
Yeah, and in manufacturing, when you're trying to fit one piece of machinery into another, and you're designing it, this can be really breakthrough. Okay, so I'm important. Paul and John, okay with that?
Yeah, I think for all the reasons you said, everyday miracles important.
Everything. Okay, important it is. Let's proceed. Thanks, Ram.
I think it's
Paul
Okay.
is picking up.
I can do the intro on this.
So Ankash is breaking up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is from Azim Azar. I think these are 5 great points. It's talking about how, you know,
Hold on, John. I think it was assigned to Ram. Ram, say something. Could you?
no, I thought I was going to do the intro, but yes, that's fine. I know. Go for it, Ram.
Yeah, so it's an interesting read. For my, there are 5 different points of view. It's an interesting read. It's it's opinions from Mr. Azim Azar. He's a thought leader, but I felt that this is optional reading because there is no practical impact from my standpoint, and what they need to take. As a leader that needs to take on it, but as a AI user, and just these are like interesting points to kind of like keep in mind. What's the zeitgeist and what's really going on, sort of thing.
Okay, John, I'm sorry I interrupted you. So go ahead.
Not at all. No problem. Yeah, I think look, these are 5 really important points, and I would take this opportunity to dump on the Gartner hype cycle once again, because Gartner hype cycle talks about how this is the hype inflated expectations. That's baloney. This stuff is getting implemented, and this article does a great job of hitting on 5 critical assumptions that are incorrect. So the cost performance curve is shifting fast. Yes, that is really true, and and a lot of people are saying, is AI stalled? Hallucinations, are a problem. Well, in a lot of settings, hallucinations have been dealt with really well. Bans don't work. Paul has said this. I have said this. A third of your folks are out there using the stuff, whether you want them to or not. So you need a policy, and AI isn't the great equalizer. This is really important because what it's saying is that the better firms are going to move ahead better, faster, and learn more. So they're going to garner, massive amounts of the profit pools in whatever industry they compete in. And then the last thing, is that we've only scratched the surface. And this isn't in order. I'm just going through. I think these are all very important points. They're well documented in this short thing. I'm going for the big E, essential.
And Ram, you're thinking optional is because you kind of know the stuff. So
So
that's why you don't put it as essential.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Like, I mean, that's I am well, I get it. Like, I mean, from what Dr. John is saying, like, I get it. I totally understand if for somebody who is already in it, it feels like, oh yeah, we know all this. But if somebody is not, definitely essential.
Yeah,
I get. That's great for sure.
Oh, sorry. One of the things that we really think about is, as the AI leader has to go get money and convince others to do stuff. And so a lot of times they have to combat the quote unquote common wisdom. And I like this one because it lances 5 different pieces of common wisdom that are incorrect.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I agree. Adam, what did you think?
I was thinking important, and I think John has swayed me actually pretty passionately. And as I think about it, especially for anyone who might be involved in any sort of AI sales, like this is handling probably the top 5 objections you're going to get in the marketplace at this point. So it is condensed and it is insightful. So I could support that.
Eric says he's with Ram, that for people who are listening to this, they know this stuff.
Well, when that's 100,000 of you, it'll be sufficient. But for now, there's a lot of people who don't know.
Yeah. Okay, essential it is. Let's proceed.
Lud, I want to just highlight that selling the vote to John actually worked in that last one. So the market is alive and well for bribery.
There we go.
All right, let's proceed, guys. Ankash, please.
Hey, now wait a second. Citizens United would just say
Bring up his screen.
it's speech. It's not bribery.
Fair enough.
Okay, the next one that we have is an interesting research paper which talks about an agent laboratory. So using LLM agents as research assistants.
Yeah, it is actually a 20-page paper, but very comprehensive. And they used it, it seems like, to generate references. This is probably the deepest reference set that I've seen in this space. And I'm sure they used their own techniques to pull it out. Adam, what did you think?
I'm on the fence between optional and important. It's pretty amazing. It's cool the way they've stitched this together, and probably this is one of the best abstracts I've seen on a research paper in quite a while. If our readers only read the archive.org abstract, they're going to get a good sense of what's going on here. So I think it's worth it. Not only the concept that they found that basically what this thing does is it works as like a team of research assistants, and it goes through 3 stages. It does literature review, experimentation, and writing the report. Then it gives a code repository with the research report. So it's like a whole little agency that will go off and do research, but they've done some really interesting things with having humans in the loop at all of these different steps. One of the findings is an 84% decrease in research expenses. And they also found a much better overall quality of the research having the humans at each step of the way. So it's a really cool example of humans in the loop with agents getting a good job done to really save time and money.
Oh, yeah.
But I would add that when they've written the LLM evaluators for certain pieces of what they were doing, those evaluators, when trained, beat humans at those evaluations and increased quality. So the data down in the article is pretty impressive. So yeah, okay, I was important on this one. John, Paul, Ram, what did you think?
I mean, I used to do this for a living. You know, I was an academic for a while, and this is earth-shattering. I mean, in terms of what this means for the process and the whole routine. I'm reminded of the Jupyter notebooks. I just think that we're going to see more and more, more and more active documents and capabilities that have the logic, not only have the findings, but they have the logic and the data and the code and everything. These are going to be active knowledge utilities, if you will. I think it's important for sure. And if I go back and teach it all, my goodness, I mean, the thing about the productivity, it's just crazy.
Crazy, incredible. Ram, okay, with important.
Yeah, so I shared this with one of our researchers, and he was like pretty impressed with how this is evolving. And he also pointed out another tool by Microsoft called TinyTroop, which is out there, but that's more of a conversational, and this is more invocation-based, tool invocation-based approach, and like a lot more robust. So not sure if it's important for AI leaders, but topic is really important for people who are interested in this.
Well, it goes across industries, right? In every industry, you have people who are pulling together either the marketing data and the reports on that, or productivity data on inventory. I mean, you name it. This goes researches, the universe. It can be localized, right? So it is an powerful tool. Okay, Paul. Okay, with important.
I'll be a contrarian. I had optional just because I don't think this moves $1 million business case at a large company. But I don't. I'll sell my vote to the chalk.
Well, I think, Paul, I just take a look at like anybody who's doing any of these financial analysis tools, for example. I think should be looking at this. You know, and every investment is either buying that or building one.
Absolutely essential for some industries. Absolutely essential for our own AI factory that we're building here.
Exactly. Okay.
Research,
So
baby.
yourself. Okay. Important it is. Let's proceed.
Luda, if you can bring up my screen, please. Yeah. Okay. The last one that we have is about when capital no longer needs labor. How does labor gain capital? So it's, I think, from the founder of stability.ai.
Yeah, an interesting piece, taking science fiction into consideration of what would happen as AI evolves and what would happen with economies in the world. John, you are into these subjects. What did you think?
Yeah, I was going to give this an optional. I love the argument, you know, in terms of how the, you know, going back and forth about how what's going to be the role of labor, how do we think about ownership? I think these are the right questions to be asking. I think as with many of these things, like Tom Piketty's book on capital, and you know, the solutions for me were a little underdeveloped, and I'm not asking for you know, detailed implementable things, but the ideas seem just pretty, you know, the ideas of how to do anything with this seemed underdeveloped.
Yeah, raw.
Pardon me?
It's raw, so it's just the beginning of the thinking.
Yeah. Well, it's look, it's a hard problem, right? There's a lot of people are describing the problem. I think there's a good description of the problem, but very light on solution, and I don't think it's got a lot of current practical implications for our AI leader.
Okay. Optional. Any disagreements, Ram, Adam?
I'll just add, he makes mention of The Diamond Age by Neil Stephenson. If you have not read that book, it's more pertinent now than ever, and it was written in the 80s. Definitely worth a read.
Yeah, a lot of
So it's I came to know so many books and so many concepts which I had like no idea about. I didn't grow up in United States, so it was like pretty interesting read for me. Yeah, but yeah, definitely optional.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, optional it is. We're coming to the end of our time here. So, Ankaj, if you can bring the scorecard. Okay, so we have 1 essential, 3 importance, and 2 optionals. Well, good Friday. Great. Any announcements, Paul, since you're with us?
Yeah, actually 3 announcements. One is we had a really good webinar yesterday, and we now have a free grid that compares the features and functions of 6 or 7 different models for out-of-the-box secure employee chatbots. We've had full reviews by Microsoft, OpenAI, and others on it. So if you're interested in that, go to our website or send me an email. Second is John and I will be in Davos in less than 2 weeks at the MIT AI Day, and that is just becoming a who's who of the AI community. We have 7 or 8 AI CEOs, from the founder of DeepMind to Cohere to Anthropic to Glean. We have 4 Nobel laureates. We have 2 to 3 AI godfathers. So it's really going to be a fabulous day. And we're working hard to take a lot of short videos so we can share back with the community all the insights and views there. And third, we're haven't finalized our showcase presenter for Monday's Learning Lab. So if you're interested in that, let me know. We have some openings on in this calendar for January.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. And as always, thank you, participants. This was a little bit quiet. There were a lot of participants, but you guys tell us what you think as we proceed. The articles are on GAI Insights /articles. You can follow along. But thank you for participating, and thank you all. See you.
And thank you, Ram. Pleasure having you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Pleasure having you.
Thanks, Ram. Great to have you. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.